Here's a garden hose. It's made by Geolia. 19 mm is the inside diameter of the hose. Inside 19, exterior around 23 or 24, something like that. This is visible even on the hose. 25 meters is the total length of this hose. Anti-torsion around middle. These three were included. Watering hose for the garden. It has 3 couplings and a sprinkler. 21 bar pressure maximum. Anti-algae, ultraviolet resistant, abrasion resistant, minus 15 degrees Celsius and plus 50 degrees. So these are the couplings. This one is blocking the water from exiting on the other side by simply having a rubber seal here, so when water comes from the left side, it is pushing this in and thus it's blocking the water from exiting on the right side. And if you connect this one to this end, then that one will push that red middle out and water can enter from the left. This is a quick coupling, 2 connectors, 2 white plastic connectors inside. This side is removable. Here you attach the hose. The next one is somewhat similar. Push down the center portion and then you can remove the top one. So these are almost similar. One has this water blocking element and the other does not have it. This is clear on the inside. The rest of them are identical. So this is a coupling. It has 2 dimensions, a smaller one and a larger one. There is a rubber seal inside. And this can be connected here. Like so, it's not coming out. You have to push down the center portion and then you can remove this. So here you attach it to the tap. This portion should be attached to a hose and the hose should be coupled to the tap. And that's it. To remove it, you can use just one hand and pull it down. The sprinkler also. Here we have a drawing, 8 type of water sprinklings, a locking mechanism and more or less water. Here's this aqua stop, this red one, which is this, and it's a universal quick joint. Here's the sprinkler. It has a few openings there. This portion can be rotated. And the water is always coming out from the top. Now using this, now using that one. This metal is the blocking element for this arm. So if you push down this, then the water will come out there. If you push it a little bit, less water will come out. If you push it more water will come out. Of course, if you release it, then the water is not coming out. So the metal portion, this, can be inserted behind. And now it's blocking it and water is always released on this side because it's pushing the arm down a little bit. Remove the metal and it is going totally up and it's blocking the water. This is identical to that one, and let's see, you can connect it there. To remove it, just pull down the center portion like so and it falls out. The hose is made up of multiple layers, the black one, the mesh and this green and black. Here's a larger diameter hose. It's made also by Geolia. So here's the smaller diameter hose and the larger one, 25 millimeter versus 19 millimeter. Don't confuse it with the entire length of the hose, that is 25 in this case. The pressure is also 21 bar for both of them. Abrasion resistance, that is 5 on both of them. 20 years guarantee. It is made in Italy. Let's check the 25 millimeters. Let's say from the 6. From the outside is around 28 millimeters. And here's an interesting thing. The length of this one is not visible, it should be here. That's 25, the smaller one, and this is 15. But when you push air inside here, you can feel the pressure, the amount of air that you have to move with your lungs. It's like lifting an object which has some weight, and initially you are stopped. You cannot instantly pull it, and you have to spend out a little bit of energy, and then it lifts up. Something like that is here. When you push in air, it's not instantly exiting at the other end. You have to push it a little bit and then it starts flowing. The 25 meter and the 15 meter. This is narrower, this is wider. And it's harder to push the air through this one compared to that one. Your lungs are blocked. You have to push 25 meters of air. So if it's harder to push air through these hoses, then imagine how hard it is to push water through these hoses. Water is much heavier compared to air. Now if you have to lift up the water also vertically, then it's even harder. Because currently I pushed air horizontally. Water is much heavier and has to be pushed up also. Pushing air through these hoses is somewhat similar to pushing a viscous liquid such as honey through a hose. It's barely moving. Now if you are even blocking it using this through those small holes, then the pour pump has to work even harder. Now here is a joining, a coupling for the smaller diameter and the larger diameter hose. Smaller on the inside, larger on the inside. This is the larger. The hose has to enter between those two elements, like so. By the way, this can be removed. Insert this one first, then you can introduce that one. Here you can see all three of them. That march has to enter into this, and then you can tighten that. The same thing for this one. Onto the hose. You can remove this if you want and insert that there. This was somewhat easier, and thread that. And now the two hoses are coupled together. Now if I push air in, it should exit here. Now that will be even harder. It's barely moving. Now don't over tighten the ends, because this black plastic will cut into the hose a little bit, as you can see, because this black plastic has some sharp edges there. So don't cut your hose with this. This end has that red valve inside, and if I blow air into this end, then you can hear the air is closing the other end. Now the water can pass through because the red portion is inside, and as soon as water arrives, it pushes out that red portion and the water is blocked. Unblocked, blocked. Now let's connect this to the hose. It has that red valve inside. Now if I blow air to this side, then air will exit only when this is pulled. If you loosen this, then smaller amount of air or water will exit. No water will exit. So the more you tighten it, the more water can exit, because it's pulling it out more. Here we have a hose carrying device. It is made by Geolia, Geo Classic. It should look like that. It can carry larger hoses, 30-meter length, or smaller diameter hoses, 60-meter length. It's equipped with two connectors. It has wheels, a handle, a leg. The handlebar can be extended or lowered, as is visible here. 2 years warranty. One connector for the tap and another connector for the carrying device also. Here we have the dimensions. 87 centimeters when it's extended, around half a meter, 53 centimeters when it's closed, almost half a meter the width, almost 40 centimeters the depth. Telescopic handle, perfect for optimizing storage space. Equipped with two connectors, 12.5 millimeter and 15 millimeter. And on the other side we have the instructions how to assemble it. It has those two middle elements and the two circular sides have to be coupled there. We have the zoomed in portion. So this pushed to the right into there. This pushed to the left into there. Then put this U shape onto the metal and couple the two sides because you have to push them from the top down into this and that. Connect the circular portion to that one. Attach the wheels onto that metal and push in that plastic holder element into the wheel on both sides. Attach the handle. I'm not sure what's this element, I could not find it in the box. The metal portion has to be introduced into those sides and that has to be tightened onto that one. The smaller metal portion has to be pushed in from the bottom into that zone. Put the two connectors, one on the exterior, one on the interior. Now here's an aspect. This portion is rotating with that one. So if you couple something here, then this should stay fixed and that should rotate. Otherwise it is rotating this portion of the hose also. So this should be fixed and the other one should rotate. Of course that is friction on this rubber sealing. So at least oil that if you are rotating a lot this. Another aspect, it says it's compatible with 19 mm and it accepts 30 m of that diameter hose, but these couplings are for the smaller one, I think for this one, because to 19 mm this coupling is not okay. So this is the 12 mm, I guess, the first one, and this is way too large. That inner portion should enter into the hose, whereas that one is way too large. Another aspect, you cannot access the other end of the hose. I simply pulled the other end of the hose onto this connector, but of course that will leak, and now I cannot access it. I have to remove all the hose from this roller. So this hose requires this size connector, whereas with the box I got this one. So I need a large one, but I received the small one. Here's this connector. This was removed. This is good for my 19 mm inside hose. 19 is visible here. But the size of this one, the outer diameter of this one, from that 10, it's 11.5, that is 15 mm. Whereas the hose is 19 mm. So in the beginning, as you can see, there is a little bit of play from 15 to 19. But inside the diameter is larger. So although it's smaller on the outside, it's somewhat larger on the inside. So this one is still okay for this. As you can see, in the beginning it's looser. That much it's looser. And then I can insert it more. And that much enters. So that much, around a centimeter, it's sealing better because the diameter is larger inside this. This hose is very heavy and that carrying thing is very light. So when you pull the hose, you pull that reel off.